Hello, and welcome to this Christian Walk podcast, the show where no topic is too taboo to empower you on your walk with God. I'm your host, Marley B, and it's my privilege to welcome you back to season 4. Today's conversation is not a comfortable one, but I promise always a very important one. Today, we're going to be talking about our finances. And so I invited my favorite financial guru to join the conversation and get us well on the way to securing our financial futures. So we had a great conversation, very informative. Get your pens and your paper, and let's get into it right now.
Walk with me, talk with me. What you know about God? Will He ride with me? Come and open my eyes for me. Hear my story. Show me more what's in store. And once more, listen, homie, can you walk?
All right, Janice Crafter, welcome to this Christian Walk podcast.
Thank you, Marlena. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I am doing wonderful today. Wonderful today.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be here. Full disclosure, everybody. This, yes, is Janice Crafter, but this is my auntie. And she is here because she loved me so much, and because she loved the kingdom of God. So you are in the right place, and I'm so happy to have you here. And before we get into our conversation, I'm gonna give you just a moment to introduce yourself to the TCW fam.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be on your show. I really appreciate it. I do feel honored. I just want to let you know that. I am Janice Crafter. I am a real estate broker. I have been in real estate for going on 21 years now. Well, actually going on 22 years now. And I really, really love it. I've been doing so well in real estate. And then a couple of years ago, I got into insurance, life and health insurance. And so I thought that that was really something important to add on to the real estate because we need life insurance. So I added that on. And then when that came about, the health insurance side, I do Medicare. So I do help the seniors with their Medicare situations that they have and get them signed up. I am a great great grandma. I'm a mother of one. I have a granddaughter. And then I have 3 little great grandbabies that I love dearly that I get to see. That's who Janice is.
We will welcome so much, auntie, grandma, mama, and financial guru.
Yes.
Welcome to TCW. And
Yes.
so I'm glad that you went right on into your credentials, because I got you here because your credentials not only equip you to help people in your profession, but what I love about you, auntie, is that you consider what you do not only a profession, but a ministry.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Because that's what we do. That's what God has put us on earth to do is he said, go up out and preach the gospel. And then the gospel doesn't always have to be preaching the Bible. It can be preaching about our finances, about buying the homes and just helping people with their everyday life and their everyday walk. So yes,
Oh,
that's what we're
yes.
here to do.
Absolutely. And I like how you went right in and talk about how the book of life, the Bible, it equips us, it gives us direction on how we should live our life. And
Yes.
there's plenty, I had looked up a few reference points in the Bible where it talks about our finances and about how, it is wise that a man saves for his future, and
Yes.
that a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's
Yes.
children and things of that nature. Those kind of things, those are the guidelines that the Bible gives us. But
Yes.
far too often, people, and I'm gonna just be specific to people in the kingdom. It's a lot of people that will get up there and will shout all over the church, but then go home and their finances, their business is a mess. And
Yes.
that is not representation of God, because one thing we should do as believers is remember that in all things we should represent the kingdom of God.
Yes.
And whether we like it or not, our credit score and things of that nature is representation of our character.
Yes. Yes, I agree. I agree 100% with that, Marlena. I agree 100%. And so with my theory is that we should even start small. We should start when we're small and start when we're young. And little do we know, we really do start because I'm a believer in I'm a strong believer in saving. We do start saving when we're young because one of our first savings accounts is a piggy bank. And a lot of people don't think about it as a savings, but it is. We have piggy banks, and sometimes we, even as adults, we have the big long jars of that we put our loose coins in every day when we come home. But the piggy bank is where we really should start our children. Each child should have a piggy bank so that they know that when they do get money to put some in, you can save some and you can spend some. And I learned a lot of that from my parents as well when we had our summer jobs. My mother would let us open our bank accounts, and we can put our check in there, but we can take some out. But we had to save a lot of it in there. Hmm.
And I think that a lot of people don't get that,
Yes,
because you hear a lot of people on the news, you hear a lot of people just in everyday conversations talk about how finances is not taught in school. It's not
yes,
taught in school. They don't teach you in school, and it should be taught in school. But you made a great point. It really should be taught at home.
yes, yes. It should
It
be
really
one.
should be taught at home.
Yes,
And
one of the things we have to start.
And
Yes,
I think that, yeah, and I think that, the piggy bank is the perfect
yes.
entrance into the conversation.
Isn't it? Isn't that funny? Yeah, because each child should have their own little piggy bank. And like if they do little chores or things like that, or sometimes you may go over auntie house or grandma house and they like to give kids money. Here, go put this in your bank, put this in your bank. And a lot of times the parents end up with it. But if they just take it and put it in their little bank so that they can get in a habit of saving, it has to be a habit.
Yes. And then when you think about, the places that we should learn it, we know that it should be home. But when I think about church, I think about church as a place to where we should develop. We should
Yes,
develop personally, we should develop spiritually, and we should develop professionally, traits in inside the church. And a lot of times in churches, they spend a lot of time asking for money. They
yes,
don't spend a whole lot of time showing us as people of the kingdom how to manage money. And
yes,
I know that in your field, whether you're helping people in real estate, whether you're helping them with retirement planning and things of that nature, you get a lot of people that spend probably essentially their entire life in the church, and they don't really know a whole lot about managing their finances.
yes.
And so I just want to know what, for a person that has that education and has that experience, is that a frustrating thing for you, or what's your experience when you run into people who are believers and have been in the church, and they have nothing, no kind of education when it comes to finance, just the bare minimum?
Well, I find that one is a misunderstanding, a miseducation about it. Truly, it's a miseducation about it. But the Bible speaks on the tithes, and a lot of people frown on the tithes. And often, I'm a believer in the tithes because the Bible said, "Give, and it should be given back to you." So, in order to receive it back to you, we do have to give, and we should really put on that concept is the church say give, 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 but they don't give us the true concept of giving and it will be given back to you, shaken down, run it over. And a lot of people that say, well, I don't have it to give, but it really should be pushed upon. It should be really taught in a great deal. Not so much as given to the church, but just always, if you give it to the person that's standing on the corner, that's still part of your tithes. If you're giving it to an organization or a children's home or a group home, that's still giving your tithes. And sometimes it doesn't have to be monetary, yes, but for speaking in monetary, even if it's to your neighbor, it can be a quarter, it can be something, but you have, in order for the flow of money to flow, you have to give and then it will come back to you. And a lot of people just don't understand that concept.
And I love that you pointed that out, because when people hear the word tithe, they immediately shut down.
Yes, they do.
And tithing is not always about the money that you give. And I
Right.
think the common misconception when it comes to tithing is that it's about God trying to get your money, or even, and people will take God out of it and just
Yes,
feel like the preacher is trying to get your money.
exactly.
And a lot of times, I mean,
And a
I'm
lot of
not gonna,
times they are.
that part right there. I don't want to act like it don't happen,
Yes,
but I don't want to also perpetuate the myth that that's the only thing that that's the
yes,
only thing that happens. That it's always a manipulation. Because at the end of the day, whatever we do, it takes money, and the
yes,
church is doing things in the community. And guess what? We can't go in there and do it, just off of people's good graces or people's good intentions. It takes money. And unfortunately, while the church is, a place where we go and commune, and we go and get fed spiritually, it also is a business. It has to be ran like a business, because at the end of it's an organization that's called to do things in the community. That takes organization, it takes time, it takes resources,
yes.
and it takes money.
Yes. One of the things that God put into my spirit a few years ago, it's been a while, he said that my people take my money. And because he said, take my money because the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. So everything belongs to God. So he said, my people take my money and put my money in their pocket and put their hand over it. And then they take the other hand and reach out and ask for something. He said, if they would just lose my money, then they would have what they have. And a lot of times people don't realize too that when you give, you're going to receive that back, and sometimes tenfold right away. It might be a couple of days later, it might be a few days later. You don't miss the money. So it is not our money. So when we give it to his people, he's going to make sure that we're taken care of and we get it right back. And that's what happens. So that's
Yes,
way.
absolutely. And at the
Yes,
end of the day, God don't want your money. He wants
yes,
your obedience.
yes, exactly, exactly. Yes,
He wants it's about trusting him
yes,
enough to say, okay, God, I'm gonna do what you told me to do, and I'm gonna trust you to do what you said you was gonna do, which
yes,
is provide, make sure that I'm good, make sure that I want for nothing, make sure I'm the head and not the tail, make sure
yes,
I'm above and not beneath, make sure I'm blessed in the city and blessed in the field. That's
yes.
what the word of God says.
That's what it
So we
says.
either trust it or we don't.
Yes, yes, because we can't pick and choose what we're going to believe in the Bible. We should believe the whole. I agree with you 100%.
That part right there. And while it is, and then you have those churches that don't really, they really say, okay, open it up, and God will open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing and all of that stuff. But they don't really get in on how to manage
Yeah,
your money. But it's some churches that's like that still. But I have to admit that, and I actually grew up in a church that didn't really have education in house when it came to personal finances.
yeah.
But now I do. I have a church that they offer classes and things like that to
Okay.
help you manage and help you get out of debt, help you learn how to pay bills, help you learn how to manage your money, because it is essential for our character that we do that, because we are out here representing God and representing God's kingdom, and we should do it in a way that is worth representing,
Yes,
because you can't sit up here and say how good God is and your finances is a mess. You looking at your phone screening it because bill collectors calling you all the time. That is not of God. That is not what he called us. He said, give to Caesar what is Caesar, and give to God what is God, and he'll take care of the rest.
yes.
And so,
Hmm.
but for those churches that do offer those kind of things, the Financial Peace University, all kinds of things like that, where they offering um financial literacy programs and things like that. What I noticed too is when those things are available, not a lot of people take advantage of it.
True. Right, right, right. Because that stigma with the church. But one of the things I was going to say with the churches, why some of the churches don't have it, because sometimes the leader of the church itself doesn't understand the concept, of trying to save. Sometimes they're struggling their own self within to understand the concept of saving or giving. Even though they say they're giving, we don't really know, and it's not up for us to even judge to see if they are. But sometimes they don't understand that and don't understand that we need to have those type of classes right along with the Sunday school classes to be a part of that into our everyday lives because we need it in our everyday lives. It's just not something that if you want it, it's a necessity of having it. Just like paying bills, you need to be paying your tithes and offering. And that's how I pay my tithes and offering. And since the pandemic, I haven't been going to church as frequently as I had prior to. So when I do pay my monthly bills, I make sure that I do have a couple of organizations that I am paying, sending money to help.
Absolutely. And I've heard that before. Willie Moore Jr. had said that on one of his podcasts. He was talking about how it was a time where he was not in a church, but he was kind of taking leadership or mentorship from a minister, and he tithed or to
Yeah.
that person,
Yes.
because it's not something we should use the excuse of, well, I don't have a church right now, so I can't give.
Right.
We shouldn't use that excuse, because at the end of the day, whether you are submitted under a church at the time or not, God is still waking you up in the morning. He is still providing for you. He is still
Yes.
protecting you. So what he's doing is not stopping. So what we should do for him, or
Mhm.
what is expected of us, it should not stop. So
Yes.
that's a great point. And
Yes.
to find places to still give that tithe. And
Yep.
remember, it's not all about, because there's some people that feel like, okay, well, I'm not working right now. I'm not doing, or whatever the situation is. I don't have it to give, but tithing can be your time.
Mhm.
It
Yes.
could be volunteering at church,
Yes.
or volunteering for an organization, or volunteering to say, you know what, cousin or sister or brother, I know you don't can't afford daycare right now, but look, let me bless you with, I'll take care of your kids, and I'll help you do something that will bless you. And I know and I trust and believe that God will bless me in return, because that's how he works.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So now when you think about, okay, so I know you deal in home ownership, right? You are a real estate agent. You've been doing that for years.
You know.
Be- yes, because of you, I'm actually a homeowner, right?
Yes.
I've been
Yes.
in my home a little over 5 years now. And the one thing that I remember trying to start the process, and I was looking like, okay, and it did, I think even so much as pulling my credit report was like a headache for me. And then, I was just like, you know what, I'm about to call my auntie. And I will never forget what you told me. I was like, Auntie, I'm trying to pull this credit report. It's giving me this hard time. I don't know what to do. And you told me you did the right thing. You called me. And right then, I was
Yeah.
just like, okay, I called it. And right then, you took care of it. And probably, I say what? Maybe 90 days later, I was a homeowner.
Yes, yes. I think it was less than that, Marlene. It seemed like it was 30 days. It went so fast.
It went
But
so fast.
what I remember with you going through that process of where you kept calling me and we were talking about the struggle that you were having because you was renting an apartment. And I think that they were going up with your rent or they wanted you to move because they wanted to do something and everything. And I was like, Ma, you can't keep going through this. We can really fix this problem right now. Why can't you just buy your own home? You will never have to worry about anybody putting you out anymore, never have to pay somebody else's mortgage for them to buy a property. No, you can really buy your own. And within that split time, we got you pre-approved. I found someone where you was at, a realtor. She found the right loan officer for you, and they got you pre-approved. And you went house hunting, and you bought that house, and you've been in your house ever since. And
Yes, it
that's
is so.
sometimes how easy it goes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I remember thinking, this is not going to happen for me. Like, I didn't even, because I had took probably about maybe a year and a half, 2 years of just putting my head down and paying my bills, because I got tired of being one of those people that was dodging creditors. And I was just like, you know what, I'm tired of being this person. So I started paying my bills, but I didn't really realize how much of an impact it was making.
Yes. Yes.
And I
Yes.
didn't think I was definitely, I did not think I was ready to buy a house. And I was just like, okay, well, we're gonna just see. I just was trying to see it. The next thing I know, it was like, sign here. and then sign here. And I'm like,
And
wow, this is
here's your keys.
right. And it's so many people I know feel that way, that they're not ready, that their
Yeah.
finances won't allow it. So what's a way that a person could find out if they're ready or not, and
The
not just
first
to make the
Yeah.
assumption?
The first thing that I would do is to get in contact with a loan officer, regardless of what you think your credit is or what your credit is. What we look at from our end, as far as looking at our credit report, is not the same way that a loan officer is going to look at your credit report. Okay. So, because they take the three scores, I'm a loan officer also with Rocket Mortgage. So, what we do is we take the three scores and then they take the middle score. I understand in another year, this coming year, they're going to be looking at things a little bit different as far as the credit reports scores. But right now, they take the middle score. Even if you are not ready, you need like a 640. Even if you're not ready, at least you have had a loan officer to look at you and look at your credit report, and they can say, okay, well, you have this, you probably need to figure this out. You have this and you need this out. And then I will probably get with a credit restoration person, or depending on what you have on your credit report. Sometimes it's as simple that you didn't pay this person and you may owe only 200 and some dollars or 300 and some dollars. A lot of times, those creditors or collections will settle with you if you owed, say, for instance, $250, and you call them and like, okay, I got $175 that I can pay you today. Will you accept this as a part of paying off that balance? And they would say yes. I've done it myself. And so they would say yes, and send me a letter saying that this is what we agreed to. And then when you pay it off, you have them to send you a letter back, so that you have that for your record, so that when you do get ready to purchase a home, you can show, even though it's showing on my credit report, that I did pay them off for that. And go and do the next one like that, and go and do the next one. And then eventually your credit score will begin to start moving up. And then a lot of people think that they can't buy a home because they don't have the money. But there are down payment programs. The state has down payment program here in Michigan, the Michigan State Housing Development, which is called MISHDA. You only need 1% of your purchase price. They give up to 75 to $10,000 to purchase a home. Bank of America is have a program going for those that are buying properties in the city of Detroit, that are helping you with your down payment program. So it's easy.
And one thing that kind of, because I was so paralyzed, because I thought that you needed money to even talk to these people, like the loan officer and things of that nature. And that was a big surprise for me, that you didn't need money to talk to these people. you know and I think that's a common misconception. But I know sometimes it's hard. You can't trust everybody who has a title. So when you're thinking about shopping around for these people, what's the best thing to do as far as making sure you get someone that is really there to help you, and not just there to pad their pockets?
Okay, so then, yeah, so you'll probably know family members who have bought homes. You can always go and ask them, well, who did you use? Because apparently that person worked out for them because they are a homeowner. So the process worked. Referrals is always a good thing. And remember too, a lot of the times loan officers and realtors, they are going to help you. They are here to help you because they're out here. This is what their job is. And if they don't help you, they don't get paid. I mean, you just don't get paid if you don't help people. But a lot of people like myself have it in their heart to want to see people have to be a homeowner. I'd rather see a person be a homeowner than renter, because with a renter, you are giving money and you're not getting a return. You're helping that landlord buy that house that you're staying in. And if you add up how much money you're paying every month in rent, and times the 12 months, times the years that you stay in that house, and that's what made me become a homeowner. It was just be floored, because even if you're paying $1,000 a month, that's $12,000 a year. That's 36,000 in 3 years. You know what I'm saying? That keeps multiplying, multiplying. You have just bought that person a home while you're sitting at someone else's home. So it's not that difficult to find people that's willing and have a heart to help people find a home. they're out here. We're out here a dozen. So
You
that's
know,
what I do.
I hear people, and I know you get it too sometime, right? Because you just plainly put out the difference between renting versus buying. And it seemed like, okay, yeah, that does make sense. But it's still so many people out there that feel that they just don't want the responsibility of owning. They would prefer to rent. Do you get that a lot? Because
I
I
get
hear that
that.
a lot.
I get that a lot, but if you think about it, when you're staying in a home, you're going to take care of that home just like it's your home anyway. The only difference is if the faucet leaks, you're going to call your landlord and tell him the faucet leaked. Well, I mean, you just go to Home Depot and get a faucet, and you kind of call a plumber and he fixed the faucet. That's maybe like once out of every 4 or 5 years. Faucets doesn't leak that much. I mean, you can get home warranties on your home now that they're offering home warranties that if something breaks, you can get. But for the most part, if you got the furnace, a good furnace, have that check when you buy a home and have a good furnace and have a hot water tank. Hot water tanks last sometimes 3 or 4 years, sometimes a little longer. We've been in our home for about 20 years, and I think we've replaced a hot water tank twice. But that's other than that, you're gonna fix up the home anyway if you're renting, just like it's your home anyway, and you're gonna take offense when your landlord tell you it's time to go. And the first thing you're gonna say is, "I put all this money into the house, and now he wants me to go." Well, you can buy your own home and put everything in there because it's only the majors: your furnace, your hot water tank, the roof, and the plumbing. Other than that, the rest of it is cosmetics. Putting in carpeting and painting, but you want to do that anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then so right now, so auntie, home ownership aside, looking holistically at our finances, right? I mentioned already that you consider this a ministry. If people listening in, they may have deduced right now that my auntie, she got a lot of jobs. She got a lot of businesses. You know what
Yes,
I'm saying?
yes,
She has a lot of businesses, but it holistically it supports people in their finances, right?
yes,
Which
yes,
is why you're the perfect person to have this conversation, first of all.
yes,
But when you think about being able to support people in that manner and you consider it a ministry, you've for a while now started your own radio show
yes,
where
yes.
you are taking callers, you're bringing guests in, and you're
Mhm,
empowering people,
mhm.
both in the kingdom and outside the kingdom, because you care about the community, you care about people, and you
Yeah,
want people to be all right. And anytime we turn on the news, we go to the gas station, we go in the grocery store, we understand the critical situation we are in, and
yes,
how important it is right now to take care of our finances and to have somebody who cares and is positioning themselves to give information
yes,
essentially for free. You know
yes,
what I'm saying? You know,
exactly.
and so, but I just want to hear you talk about what that, because to me it's a calling for you. And
Yeah.
so what that calling that sent you onto that to this new journey of being on the show and things like that. Can you kind of tell me about that?
Okay, so starting the show, God had put that into my heart to do the radio show maybe a year before I actually went on the air. And I let someone, being honest, I let someone distract me from it because where the location of the radio show is at, the station is at, it's not your desirable area. Okay, that's no big deal. And so when I told them, okay, I'm going on the air, I'm going on the air, and it's like, oh, can we just go someplace else? Can we go someplace else? And I got distracted from it. I'm being honest, I didn't do it. But full circle back around, God put it back on my heart again. It's like, this is what I want you to do is to go on that radio show. And so with that, being obedient and hearing his voice, I called the station and like I said, it's not the desirable area. So as I was getting out of the car, I'm like, oh Lord, what am I doing over here and stuff like that. He's just said, be out of there by 5 o'clock, be out of the area by 5 o'clock. So that's why I'm on the air at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I love it because I get to bring people on. I get to share my knowledge of the savings account and how buying a home, bringing other people on for inspectors, plumbers, home ownership. I just had someone for home health care, the seniors, and I love what I do. I really love it.
Mhm. And what is some of the blessings that has come to you since you have answered the calling? Because
Yes,
God will call us to do some stuff, but if we don't answer the call,
yes,
but then that's a whole other thing. But when we do answer the call, you know what I'm saying? We get past the thing that is like putting that thing that is stopping us, and we answer the call, and then the blessings that come, the stuff you did not expect. If you could
yes.
think of the blessing that you did not expect since you've taken this journey, what would it be?
Okay, so a couple of things. One of them I had actually our niece, your cousin, on the show, Danny Best, and she's a barber, and she was there and she was talking, and she was at that time had just opened up her new shop, and she was talking about how she wanted to start hiring barbers or people that do hair. Beauticians to come into her shop because she had shop space for them to do it. And as a result, my other niece, she called in and said, "Okay, well, I want to get started." She had her license, but she had never been in the shop. And as a result, she ended up, the two of them got together and they opened up the shop and she joined her shop. Danny has since closed her shop and moved to California, as we know, but Play Woo is still in her another shop, and that kind of jumpstart her. So that's a really good thing. I really am happy to be a part of that snippet. And then I just recently had a lady said that she was listening to the radio. She has been down on her luck. And I always end the show saying, if you want to be a realtor or if you want to learn a life insurance, I will can help you with that. And she recently has called me and said that she wants to become a real estate agent. So we're getting together to get her to become a realtor. So I like that.
Wow. So you teaching, you not just giving fish out, you teaching people how to fish.
Yes, exactly.
And
Exactly.
I love that. I love that. That is great. And I knew the situation. I did not know Danny was on this. I was going to say Nunu.
Yes.
That's what we call her for people
That's
like,
what we
okay,
call
who
her.
is Nunu? Danny Best is Nunu for us because
Yes.
that's the family name or whatnot. Just like you might hear my auntie say Ma, that's my family name. That's
Right.
just how we do,
Right.
right? But but when I did not know that she was on the show, and that's what got her and
Yes.
Playwood together.
Yes.
Because I
Yes.
know I've been seeing Playwood, which I did not know Playwood was doing hair, and she is braiding the mess out of hair,
Yes.
and I'm
She's
like,
doing
oh
very
wow.
well.
And
Yes.
it was really beautiful to see them doing it together. They still
Yes.
encourage each other and
Yes.
things of that nature. So it's just very powerful what happens when we're walking in our flow, like you said in the
Yes.
flow earlier.
On the
And
flow.
yes, and that's a beautiful thing. Now, if somebody wanted to, hear your show, how can they go about doing that?
Okay, so I'm on WHPR FM 881. I am a radio show that you can see and hear. I'm on Tuesdays from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I also do Facebook Live. So if they are out and about and going about their business and don't have time, I do record Facebook Live on Janice financial page. Janice Financial Corner. Goodness, I don't even know my own show. Janice's Financial Corner Facebook Live page on that too. But that's where I'm at 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock on Tuesdays. And you can see it from your device. You can hear it from your cell phone, or you can look on your tablet, any of the devices, because sometimes the signal isn't as strong. So it's always good to look on your from the computer. Plus, you'd be able to see it all over the world because it is on your computer.
Yes. And you can help. And I want people to understand that while you are out of Michigan, out of Detroit, you can help people in all 50 states. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, because I can find a realtor, I can find someone, I can refer someone to you. Yes.
And
My
I
ultimate
am a witness that she will not only find somebody in your area, she will make sure she will interview them thoroughly and make
yes,
sure that they are the real deal she even bring them or present them to you.
yes,
And so, yeah, I'm a witness for that 100%.
I am extremely passionate about what I do, Marlena. Like you said, it is a ministry to me because I just know that this is what God has done, has put me on this earth to do, is to help people. My ultimate goal is to have a building to where can teach the real estate. I see when you walk into that building, I see overhead a desk that says real estate, a desk that says life insurance, health insurance, mortgages, and then I see in the back long table or training table with somebody back there where they can come back there and learn how to learn about real estate, becoming a realtor, a loan officer, insurance. I'm getting my PNC license, what's auto and homeowners license, so I'll be able to teach that as well.
Yes, well, my auntie is on it when it comes to the finance world. She
Yes,
can hook you up. But for, the TCW fam who may be, at, whether you're in your 20s, whether you're in your 30s, whether in your 40s, whether in your 50s or beyond,
exactly.
if you, wherever you are, I think the first thing we can agree on that people need to do is acknowledge where you are. Be
Yes.
close to where you are, because I spent years just ignoring my finances, and I don't know what I thought, like it was just gonna go away. Da, 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 da. But sooner or later, you have to look at it,
Yes.
right? You have to look at it, and then when you look at it and you acknowledge where you are, what's a few steps, Auntie, that people can do just to kind of get themselves on track with, you know, turning their financial situation around and getting on the road to home ownership if that's what they want to do.
Okay. So the first thing that do is pull your credit report. Pull your credit report. Know what's on your credit report because they allow us to see our credit report. You can get a free credit report once a year from from TransUnion, Equifax, and TransUnion. I believe. I just said what did I say? Equifax, TransUnion. There's a third one that's not right in the tip of my tongue right now, but nevertheless, it you get a copy of that, and then what I would do is get one maybe like in January and one maybe like in June, so that way because they both are going to pretty much have all three is pretty much going to have the same information. But I would get a copy of that first and look at it and see what's on there. We know who we owe, we know what we don't owe. Don't go to someone that's going to say, well, I'm going to dispute this and so that can take it off. You know you owe that person. See if you can make arrangements for that person to do it. A lot of times we get our income tax. Income tax is the best time to straighten out your credit report because we get a lump sum of money for those that don't have to pay. We get a lump sum of money and look at your report at that time in January and go down the line and say, okay, I'm going to settle with this one, I'm going to settle with that one, and I'm going to settle with that one. And then sometimes people don't have anything on their credit report. And so no credit sometimes can be as bad as having bad credit. So then you can go to like Michigan First has secured credit cards. What they'll do is they may start you off, you give them $300, they'll do a loan for you and give you back $300, and then you can begin to start making your payments because your credit report is only to see how well you make your payments. So you use it up or apply maybe at J.C. Penney's or Macy's to open up maybe 2 or 3 credit cards. Don't max them out. Just maybe use up to half, pay it back, half, pay it back. And so that you're now creating a credit history for that. And so with that, when you get ready to go buy a home, which is essential, when you get ready to go buy a home, they can pull your credit report and look at it. And then if not, you can always get in contact with me because I can sit down with you and go over everything with you and tell you what you need to do. And then 6 months later, we get back and I always tell people, just check back with me here, do this, this, and this. And sometimes I'll just call them like, how you doing? Or text them, how you doing? How you doing? So that's what we do. That's how I can
And I,
help.
I like how you said, because you have these people that will come out and say, hey, I can take that off of your credit report, but that's
Yeah.
not always the best thing. Tell us
No.
why that is.
Because it's going to come back. Just because we disputed it, the creditors are going to come back and say, yes, they do owe it. And it's going to bounce right back onto your credit report. And sometimes when you are buying your home, they pull your credit report. They're going to pull it again in the middle part while you're in the process of it. And then they're going to pull it right before you get ready to buy that home, right before you get ready to close. You don't want those surprises to pop back up that they didn't see in the beginning. So it's always better to just go ahead and settle everything, get it off of your credit report, or get it settled so it can say it's satisfied, and then you don't have anything to worry about.
Well said, well said. And Auntie, if somebody wanted to follow you on, because you're on Facebook, are you on
Okay.
Instagram?
No, I need someone to help me with Instagram and Facebook and all of those because I do so many things. I don't have a lot of times to get on the social media, although I know social media is the place to be.
Yes,
Um, but we only get 24 hours a day, and
yes. And
even
social
now,
media is time consuming.
yes, it is very time consuming. So I had a young lady that was going to help me, but she kind of fell by the wayside. But and I don't want to pay a whole lot of money having someone to do it for me. So as a result, no, I don't have it. But they can always get in contact with me with my texting me always at 313-920-8457. So they can always text me. I'm always available. If I don't answer, I promise you I'll call you right back. It won't be even a day. Don't like for people to do it to me, so I'm not going to do it to people.
But you are on Facebook.
Yes, I am on Facebook. Yes.
And what's your Facebook handle?
Janice Crafter.
Yep.
Ah, I
Janice
told you I
Crafter.
wasn't good on.
Yeah.
I told you I wasn't good on Facebook. Just type in Janice Crafter. Anybody can find me. Even if you just Google my name, I'm coming up. That face is coming up. So because I'm on so many different sites, just type in Janice Crafter, and my telephone number is going to come there, and all the links that I'm on is going to come up. So
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Auntie. I really appreciate you coming on, offering your expertise. If you wanted to
okay.
give one more closing statement just to kind of encourage people, when it comes to taking ownership of their finances, what would that be?
Okay, so making sure that we save, making sure that you start today. Start today. I don't care if it's a dollar. Just start, get you a piggy bank or something and start putting that money in. And then, or even just open up a savings account for $50. And every time you get paid, put 5, 10, $15 in there. You'd be so surprised how much that money will add up. Just start today. Just got to start from somewhere. And as far as your real estate is concerned, making sure that you pull your credit report today. Look at your credit report and set your mindset a goal and said, this time next year, I'm going to be a homeowner. So that gives you time to start piecing and doing a little bit at a time so it doesn't seem so overwhelming that all of a sudden I got to do all of this and I'll never get to where I'm going. But just set a goal and say, this time next year, I'm going to be a homeowner, and start working towards that. And then the last thing that we did not talk about was life insurance. And I just want to make sure I put in life insurance, that we have to have life insurance because God did not promise us to stay here on this earth. And we have to have something to do. We have to have the ones that we leave behind have to have some kind of direction of what to do with us when we pass away. So we want to make sure from the newborn babies to grandma, that life insurance is in place.
Amen.
That was a
Amen.
life. That was a mouthful, right?
Hey, but it was so needed. It was so needed. I thank you so
Okay.
much for joining the conversation about kingdom finances. And
Okay.
I don't think this is going to be the last time that we have
Thank
you
you.
on here, because
Okay.
finances is something that we need to not stray away from. And we need to, and people don't really like to discuss their finances. They don't even want to talk about them to themselves. We don't even want to have a conversation
Right.
with ourselves, but
Right.
we can't act like it's going away.
I'm
This
very
economy is not
right.
not being gentle for the people with the kind heart. It is not being gentle for the people just because they love God. It's going to take ownership. It is going to take diligence on our part and real
Yes.
intention.
Yes. Yes. And don't be afraid. Don't
Don't
bury
be
your head in
afraid.
the sand. Pluck your head out and just do it. Like Auntie
Yes.
said, just do it. Yes.
Yes, if God allowed it, he can make it for your good. So don't feel like wherever you are now is where you are meant to be, is
Yes.
where you have to stay. You can turn it around, and you can do it with God's help and with the help of people like my auntie who are blessed with the
Yes.
ministry of finance.
Because he said, I come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. He didn't say shortness. He said abundantly. That's a lot. So get your gift, what God has for us.
Yes. Thank you so much, auntie.
Okay. All right, Mom. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much to my auntie Janice Crafter for coming on to the show and giving us some great tips on how to maximize our personal profitability. If this conversation spoke to you, please like it, please share it. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Remember, you can catch us on our newly launched website, which is www.thischristianwalk.com. You can still listen to us on the go on Apple Podcasts as well as iHeartRadio. Now, when it comes to our finances, it's not always an easy conversation. It's not always a comfortable conversation, but it's one that we have to have not only with other people, but just with ourselves. And if you get nothing else from this conversation, I hope that you can take this away. Own wherever you are. Don't ignore your finances because that does not make it go away. The best thing to do is own where you are and trust God to take you wherever you're going. And what I know for sure is on this walk with God, loving God can be easy. Trusting God can be hard. But I believe we can all get there one step at a time on this Christian walk. Till next time, be blessed.
Listen, homie, can you walk with me? Talk with me. What you know about God? Will He ride with me? Come and open my eyes for me. Hear my story. Show me more what's in store. And once more, listen, homie, can you walk? Can you walk? Let's walk.